Trackwrestling.com, Shane Sparks along with Cary Kolat here in Paris, France. Women's freestyle gets underway tomorrow on Trackwrestling.com. He's the head coach at Campbell University and also one of the volunteer women's freestyle coaches, Cary Kolat. Cary, how did this opportunity present itself to be on the women's side of things?
Well, USA Wrestling, you know, they send out their forms every year asking for guys to help coach the teams, and so I submitted my application for various teams, and the women's application was one of them I submitted. It came across, and then Terry called me and asked if I'd be part of the staff this year, and so, you know, here I am today in Paris.
What made you interested in the opportunity to coach women? How much thought had you given it over the years?
I hadn't really given it any thought, but I was down at the Pan Am Championships 2 years ago coaching the junior teams, and the women were short-staffed down there, and so I helped the girls out and got to know the girls a little bit, and you know, right now, I mean, female wrestling is an emerging sport with the NCA, and the opportunities are there, and you know, so I just wanted to jump in and help move it along as much as I could.
If I would have told you, Cary, 25 years ago, that in 2017 you'd be in Paris, France, coaching women's freestyle wrestling with John Smith and Terry Steiner, what would you have said to me?
You know, I don't know. I would have never pictured it myself, you know, but like I said, the sport has grown. When I was competing, that's when the female wrestling was still just getting going, you know, and we didn't expect it to be where it's at today, and now here it is.
Was there a time when you kind of jumped on board the women's freestyle bandwagon, if you will, or were you always maybe impartial either way, or what were your thoughts on it?
You know, when I was an athlete, I didn't really pay attention. You know, you were focused on yourself, and then when I left competing and I went into coaching, I left wrestling for a little bit and I went into coaching, you're focused on what's in front of you, you know, and that's what my focus was. But now as a head coach at Campbell, and you know, I'm trying to build a program down there and continue to build it with my staff, but you have to look at wrestling as a whole, and how can I help, and this is one of the areas we can definitely help. There's a lot of room to grow in this area of the sport.
Is that something that's in the works at all at Campbell? I know recently Tom Brands in Iowa, I believe Zeke Jones at Arizona State, trying to make this an NCAA sport, at least get to that point?
Yeah, well, they put their letters in of support. You know, I think we're all doing that. You know, down the road, what's in store for Campbell, I don't know. Would I like to see a program started? Yeah, you know, but there's some hoops to jump through. You got to look at resources and things like that. But yeah, I would definitely like to see the women at least coming down and starting to train in our RTC.
What's this experience been like?
It's been awesome. You know, being around the girls, getting to know them, spending some days in southern France training, and now here, and now with the girls in Paris, and helping them, you know, prep like any athlete. It's been a good time.
I've talked to some guys that have coached women. One of those guys being Kevin Black. He's in Wisconsin, like I am,
yeah.
and he has said, you know, he enjoys it. He said it's a different kind of athlete. And of course, I mean, that's the beauty of coaching. That's the art of it, being able to relate to every athlete. They all have different wants and needs. How you know, what kind of adjustment has that been for you to specifically deal with women? They're different.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, men and women are different, you know. In terms of athletes, you know, I got guys on my team who you communicate one way with, and another guy you reach another way. And, you know, with the girls here, it's the same thing. It's communicating. So if anything, it's going to well round you as a coach. You know, you never know what you're going to say, but you might have an experience with somebody, you know, a couple years ago that's going to help you in the future somewhere. So, you know, I don't really look at the differences. You know, I think we're coaching them the same way for the most part. But you're just trying to reach each girl a little bit individually, and hopefully you say something that makes it click here in Paris, and they walk out with a gold medal.
Where do you think you bring the biggest impact?
You know, right now, my biggest thing has been Terry. You know, Terry and Clarissa and Emma, like they've got the most impact with the girls. I was here to help, you know, in any capacity I could. And I told the girls the first day at camp, you know, I'm here to help in any capacity that Terry and the other two want to plug me into. So I've been plugged in areas as, I mean, the last 3 days it's been a training partner role. You know, I haven't rolled around this much in a long time, but just giving them a feel and helping them prep and helping them get their warm-ups in and helping them get the weight off. That's been my capacity the last 3 days here. You know, tomorrow will be a different capacity. We're in the corner, so you know, I'll help facilitate the warm-ups and the weight cutting and all that stuff, and then, you know, be in the corner and be positive for them, and if they find themselves in a hole, helping them get out of it.
Has anything surprised you, Cary, with this experience?
No, not too much. You know, I knew the girls trained hard. I knew they're competitors or they're athletes. I always feel bad calling them girls. I mean, they're athletes, and and you know, there's no difference. They're working the same way everybody else is, and but you know, they've got to keep advancing their level. And Paris is, you know, here at the World Championships, they're going to see where they stack out, and then, you know, the question is what you did, was it right? And then you got to go home and if it didn't work out, and change the game plan.
You're a national distinguished member of the Hall of Fame, phenomenal college career, phenomenal international career. You're not, you know, you're getting up there, we're all getting up there, but you're not that old. Right. I mean, do they know who you are? Do they ask you questions? I mean...
Yeah, I definitely think they know who I am, and yeah, I think they're excited that I'm part of the staff. I know they're excited John's part of the staff. I'm excited John's part of the staff. So I think the combination of those things, they feel like they're getting their needs met. They feel like USA Wrestling's taking care of them, and like I said, I really hope that, you know, now with seeing guys like us come over and help, that, you know, every year there's a line of guys like you'll coach the women's team the same as you'll coach the men's team, you know, and that's what needs to happen.
Hanging around Terry Steiner and John Smith, what are some things you take away from those guys?
Oh, John, I've been around John since, you know, '97 when he was coaching me in my quads, you know, so I was fortunate enough to have him sit in my corner, and you know, so I've learned a lot from John for the last training camps, things he said. Took notes. I'll take it back to my team and use it. Terry's different because Terry's been Terry and I have we're in a similar place. You know, really, in essence, Terry helped, you know, when they hired him as the national team coach, he's building this program, building the depth with the women. So he's in a place where I'm at right now. I'm trying to build Campbell up with my staff and my guys, and so, you know, we have similar hurdles that, you know, he may have already jumped through. So, you know, we're roommates right now, so I'm picking his brain.
You've done a great job at Campbell University. It's great for wrestling. It's got to be part of the sport where we're getting different schools to step up. What has been the most critical when you look at what you've done at Campbell as you guys are on the rise?
Well, like I said, again, it's support. You know, you absolutely have to have the right athletic director, the right administration to give you the tools to succeed. You know, and when I got there, they gave me the tools to succeed. And I always tell my guys, don't go knocking on the door till you've done something. And the great thing at Campbell has been I haven't really knocked on the door, and every year they have done more for me, you know, and so they're appreciative of what we're doing. They see the changes we've made. We finished 21st academically, you know, in the nation. When I got there, we were not in a good situation, so we've improved there. We've definitely improved the wrestling. We've gotten the numbers up in the room, and so that's the biggest key, man. You got to have the right administration and staff, and we've got that. And then I got really lucky, I always say, with my staff this year. I mean, I found 2 good guys that come on my staff last year. I think I had the conference team in place to win, but without those 2 guys coming on board and Evan Henderson coming into the RCC as a volunteer, and without them, we wouldn't have got over that hurdle. So they played a part. Now Mike Evans is there now as an assistant coach. So every year it's gotten better. And what's key is we don't, you know, conference title was great. It was great for the program, first in history. But now we have to forget that and move on and build on it.
Why is Mike Evans a good fit for you guys at Campbell?
Well, I think I've gotten lucky with our personalities. Every kid needs somebody they can go to. I feel like we all have distinct personalities from each other, so I think every kid's got somebody that he's going to go to when he needs to talk or needs help on something. So, you know, Mike brings, from a big-time program like Iowa, he brings a different training perspective probably. Sentez, you know, he's very outgoing. He's been great at, you know, with the recruiting. He's been great at, you know, as a young kid out of Central Michigan, he went to Cal Poly and got his feet wet right away. You know, Garrett Kiley's a detail guy, great, you know, technician, great student of the sport, and so he helps me in things that I'll miss. You know, I'm kind of a run and gun kind of guy, and he's the guy that'll slow me down a little bit. And then myself, just with experience and recruiting, what I've done, it all kind of fits.
Where do you think you've evolved the most?
As a head coach, well, I think I've involved maturity-wise. You know, I always said, like, you know, had I been a head coach in my 30s, I probably ran a lot of guys into the ground, you know, and now as you get older, you realize some guys take a little longer to get there, and you know, so I've matured over time, and so we've seen guys improve under us. You know, my 65-pounder is probably the biggest one. He went 4-20 last year. And this year, I think he ended the year ranked 33rd and won the SoCon and went to Nationals, you know, as a sophomore. And he wound up being a key player in our program. So, you know, we've brought those guys along.
Heading into this upcoming season, it'll be here before you know it. Couple of things that you're most excited to see play out.
You know, I feel like this year, you know, I haven't had the team meeting with the guys yet. You know, I'm here, but, you know, I feel like we need to be a top 20 team next year. Like, we should be a top. We have the talent in the room to be in a top 20 range going from 38. You know, we should be taking 7 or 8 guys to nationals as long as we don't screw it up. You know, as long as we keep doing what got us here last year, but we've got to improve on it. We can't keep the same pace. The pace has got to go up. And so those are the key elements, and then I'd like to see us be a top 10 academic team.
I got one more question for you that I just thought of. It was something I was talking to Matt Lindland about before. I'd love to get your perspective of a guy that's lived it and understand. A lot of kids, you know, they come in, or anybody, you know, they want to be the best. They want to be the best in the world, and it all sounds good. I mean, it all sounds great, but very few people really get it on what it takes. You want to be the best in the world, everything changes. When did you realize you wanted to be the best in the world, and when did you understand what it took to be the best in the world?
Probably at 12. I always tell people, I mean, when I was a kid, I was 8 years old, I said I wanted to win the Olympic Games. I think at 12 years old, I had an opportunity to be around Nate Carr and see his training. You know, he was 20 minutes from me at Morgantown, and I think at 12, I really started, hey, at this point, man, these are the things I got to do, and it was my life. There wasn't a day that I didn't wake up thinking about winning a gold medal, and I always tell people now at 44, there isn't a day I don't wake up thinking, man, I don't have the gold medal. You know, so it becomes part of your DNA at a point, and so that's where it's at. Everything takes a backseat to that goal and that drive.
Really appreciate catching up, Cary. Good luck to the women's team these next couple of days, and have fun in Paris. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.